campus project, and with me I have Angie Andreessen. She's a BA on the project, and she will be able to assist and help out with this answer hour. As normal, this answer hour is recorded. So if anybody wants to come back and refer to it, we can do that. Then also, please type your questions in the chat, and we will stop periodically to start having those conversations and answer those questions. And everybody knows that if you've been on one of these with me before, I think we should have conversations. The PowerPoint is really just a guide to get questions. So let's get the questions and let's figure out what's going on and what's working and what's not working, and go from there. So we'll start. Next slide. Okay, so the agenda will follow pretty simple. So we have a release that we did right before Thanksgiving. It wasn't a very large release just because of the time frame. We usually do them on Thursday, but we wanted to get one in at least on that week so we could get some things updated. We'll talk about some known issues, we'll have some question and answers, and then we will talk about upcoming sessions. So let's get right into it and talk about this release. Okay. Unable to access related disputes. This one, we're seeing this really because of the way campus is designed, where legal professionals, especially administrative staff, so paralegals and other legal workers, that an attorney was assigned. We're seeing it very predominantly when something happened in the old world and now you're trying to follow up in the new world. You're not able to see those claims. What happened here is, again, I think I've said, there is nothing that would associate you to those claims because of the way the migration was. The only data that was collected was on the attorney. So, we're looking at ways around that. We do know that if you file a notice of appearance again, a new notice of appearance, it will add your legal staff to it. So that's one way to work around that. But the notice of appearance does have to actually be filed in campus. So the attorney would have to go in there and file that notice of appearance to get his staff on there. We know that's cumbersome, might be a problem, but those in-flight disputes, there's just nothing that we can do right now to relate people and add them on the dispute when they were not a party in the old world. So that's something we know is an issue and something we want to talk to you about. Service process designees missing from a service list. That's something we do know that we need to get them on the service list so that we do show them on there. The intent of it is kind of evolved a little bit, and so we definitely want to deal with that. And then attorney ID not validating on web forms. Something we just got told about, so we want to make sure that we're going through there and figuring out why those bar IDs are not working on all web forms. And then, of course, the medical and rehab filings no longer require scheduling a conference. That's been fixed. So all these have been fixed, but the one I'm really focusing on is the first one, where we were able to fix it with as much of our technology as we can with scripting. But there's going to be cases where legal professionals cannot see cases their attorneys are assigned to, especially if they are in flight. And when I'm saying in flight means they were started before we went live with campus. And that's something we're struggling to work on. But please be aware, attorneys should be able to see all their claims, especially if something was initiated in campus. Those we want to deal with if somebody's not seeing something was initiated in campus, but it's the stuff before we know we're having some issues with. Next slide. Okay. Other known issues. Issues with notice of appearance filings. We just got this one last week or yesterday. I mean, they're all blurring together, where some people are experiencing when you file your notice of appearance that you're not able to do an attachment, especially like the note on that. Usually it's a retainer agreement. It's not allowing those attachments, therefore it's not filing. We're looking into that because we do know that is an intermittent behavior we're seeing. So we may be reaching out to people that reported that to figure out what's going on there. Hyperlinks in emails directed to not authorized page. This one really does relate a lot to, we figured that it's coming from our VRU unit. So if you see a document that starts with RC, that is from our VRU unit, and it is a gap in the system that the VRU unit is sending stuff from our internal system, and it's trying to direct you toward a page that externals obviously don't have access to. So for the meantime, VRU is going to start sending those out mail, and we're looking at a way to do an improvement in the future to make sure those don't happen. If anybody else is getting on the getting a dispute where you're getting that email and you're clicking onto it and it's giving you a not authorized, that's because it's showing you as not a party on the dispute. So we can work with you to tell you what's going on there. I told you again, the legal support, unable to access related attorneys' claims. I think I've hit that 4 times now because we're getting a lot of questions on that. And we know that the legal support staff and paralegals do a lot of the filings and a lot of work for the attorneys. And so we're trying to fix what we can, but that's something we do know is out there, and a lot of it is on those migrated cases. Review document button not functioning. That's something that we have been made aware of. And then accessing claims. Angie, do you know a little more on the accessing claims? Is that when they file an authorization?
I think I don't know if Richard, I think knows a little bit more about that.
Yeah, Angie, this is Richard. Good morning, everyone. In the spirit of what you were saying, Brad, about those legacy filings and folks trying to get access to those, we have to just kind of finalize our workarounds there, make sure that the technology is working to ensure people can access on those older claims that had previously been filed in Informix, our Informix system, and migrated into Campus. We've got some technology we need to verify and vet to make sure that it works before we communicate broadly what the workaround is. But to the extent that we're aware of the issue and people have expressed their concerns around that, we just wanted to make sure that it was captured here as a known issue.
Yeah, thanks, Richard.
Okay.
Appreciate that. And we have a hyperlink in here that goes to our website that shows, locating WIDs, what you need to do if you're trying to get access to a WID because the WID lookup is no longer functioning. And so that is there. Our help desk staff does also want to let everybody know that some people are sending in a notice of rep to get access to the WID, but just so you know, that they'll be able to give you the WID on that, but that doesn't count as the system accepting the notice of rep or notice of appearance. So, I know people are sending that to them, but the system doesn't know that was ever sent into them. So you're not going to have access in Campus, but you would have the WID. So just so everybody is aware of that, we wanted to clean up that communication and make sure the sequencing is correct. You can send it in to get access to get the WID, and once you get the WID, you still file your notice of appearance in Campus. All right. Do you have any questions or anything, Angie?
I don't see anything yet, but I'll go ahead and put that link in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Give me the next one. Okay. So we just had a meeting internally on our Campus Central page to make sure we are getting more timely information on there, and we're committing to get that because the page does have good information on it, but we want to get some of this out there, especially with the ability to file a response. And we know that people were blocked in filing their responses in a medical request or a rehab request because Campus said it had to be a scheduled event. That's something that has been fixed. Hopefully everybody knows that's been fixed, but we want you to be able to know you can file responses now before anything has been scheduled. So that is something that, you know, we have taken care of and fixed. So sorry, we're getting some questions coming through that I'm seeing pop up, but we do want to get this page up to date. That's where this document is on the filing of, you know, how to get access to WIDs. Richard's going to put us communications on accessing older files, and then we'll go out in an email, but also we'll get to the get to everybody as far as it will be put on this page.
And Brad, just for clarification, the WID page, it looks like it's still showing some information about sending letters or faxes to copy file review. So we'll just make sure that we get that information updated.
Okay.
And then there was a question. So if I'm hearing correctly, are we supposed to file documents under the attorney until legal staff have access, like the notice of appearance?
Yeah, the notice of appearance gives the legal representatives access. So they would file the notice of appearance, and then you would have access to the filing. It's something that we're currently working on solutions to it, because from a permission standpoint, the way it works is it adds you as a party, and so we want to be able to make sure that we get everybody on there. But yes, you could do that and it would work.
And just to clarify on that one, if you are like a legal professional and you're related to an attorney in your firm, you should be able to file a notice of appearance on their behalf.
Oh, yeah.
So it would not require the attorney to file it for you to gain access to that file. If you or any of the other legal professionals in your office file it and they are related to that attorney, it would grant you all access.
Yeah, sorry about that. I misunderstood the question.
No problem. And there is another question. Is the attorney ID not populating issue happening when trying to file a notice of appearance? I've tried uploading a retainer, but when I hit next after entering the attorney ID, nothing happens. I think this was the issue that we previously talked through, Brad.
Yeah, we got reports of this, that it has something to do with the uploading the document of the retainer. So we're looking into this right now. Richard brought it to my attention yesterday, and Richard's aware of it. So we want to get this fixed in our release on Thursday. We may be reaching out, like I said, to get to everybody who's having this issue, or at least a couple people, because from what we're seeing is it is intermittent, because we are getting them. We need to figure out why certain people are not going through it, some are. So yes, we will get this fixed for you, but we think it has to do with the uploading certain document types.
And Brad, just to follow up on that one, what is the workaround until that is resolved in light of no mailings or faxes being received for those notices of appearance?
No mailing for faxing.
Richard, do you have any ideas on this one? I'm the technical person, but I'm not the policy person.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was hitting the wrong button. We're revisiting the decision around the whole email piece to allow people to get stuff in while we work through the NOA. So what I would say to, I forget, I'm trying to look to see who wrote that.
Stephanie Ballmer.
Stephanie. Hang tight, Stephanie. We'll put something out. The goal here is we want to try to get something out, if not today, in the next 24 hours, just to clarify how this would work. So I would just ask for your patience, but we do intend to push something out with a little bit more guidance here once we get approval from the right folks here behind the scenes. But the points that are being made in the chat about making sure that there's some way that people can, navigate and move things through, the point is duly noted, and it is a valid one, and we're working to just make sure that the appropriate steps are being taken to allow things to get processed in the interim.
Thanks, Richard.
Oh, thanks, Stephanie. Yep, I just saw a response there. Yep.
Yeah. So I think, Ellie, I think your comment kind of went along with that, just with workarounds would be helpful. And then Beth, your question, just to clarify, does the service of process designee permission need to be assigned to at least one member of a group? I'm assuming that the assigned attorney to a claim would get served with something even if they don't have the service of process designee permissions assigned to them. That is correct. So essentially how it works is we would, the attorney, once they're related to somebody on a file, they're going to get pulled into that service list as related to that particular party. If that attorney's name is clicked to be served, the service of process designee for your firm will automatically be served as well. So you would both be served. So the attorney does not have to be listed as a service of process designee in order for your firm to get served, as long as the attorney is served, which they should be getting served through the process. It would also serve your service of process designee. And then the next question. Once we file a retainer or a notice of appearance via campus, how long before we gain access to the file?
So if you, when you do your locate a claim step, if it matches a file in campus, you would actually get immediate access to the claim at that point. What we're seeing here is information. It might be different. So for instance, date of injury or last name, however you're locating the claim. So what happens is it creates a shell record to allow the filing to come through, and then it's up to our team to resolve that and get it attached to a claim. And that's where people aren't seeing anything, because it's a shell record just to get the filing in the door, but it needs to get linked up to a claim at some point. So we're seeing that people are sending it in, and then now the claim shell, you've entered in all the data, but there's actually no claim that it's associated. And that's a step that our internal staff should be doing.
Thanks, Brad. Next question, I'm going to give this one to you, Richard. So it just says, I'm not sure if my firm has emailed anyone there yet about this issue, but it appears that we haven't gotten any notices of admin conferences since campus went live.
Yeah, good point. I've had a couple of people outside of, I believe, Elle, who made that comment, who've reached out around their issues with getting conferences scheduled. We did have some technology fixes that were recently released, and to my understanding, we are getting those up and out now. Specifically, if you want to reach out to me just to see what the status is of a specific conference, let me know. And you can, I'll put my email in the chat, or you can just reach out, richard.d.davis at state.mn.us. But we'd be more than happy to look into that. But the underlying answer to the question is we are able now to get conferences up and running based on some of the updates to the system. So we just want to make sure that we see those things being processed appropriately. So if we can verify that, that would be great.
Great. Next question. So I'm an attorney with several cases on my dashboard, but there are 0 in our group claims and cases list. Is this why I'm not getting served with notices, responses, etc.? So I can field a little bit of that one. So your group's claims and cases functionality is going to be a little bit different for law firms. Essentially, that is going to be used a little bit more by employers, by insurance companies, people that have a lot of kind of cases where they're a party to the case or the claim. Now, if your law firm was a party to the case or claim, it would be listed there. But when it is just the attorney, it would not be listed there. So if the attorney is representing a party, it wouldn't be linked to your law group. It would be linked to the attorney and their related users. Now, as far as why you're not getting served with notices and responses, Stephanie, I'm going to have you email me. I'm going to look into that and see how your group is set up. I'm going to put my email in the chat for you. If you wouldn't mind just sending me an email, and we'll kind of take a look at your account and see why that's happening. Okay. Next question, is there a workaround for not accessing items that have been sent to us? We've received emails notifying us that a new document is available, yet when we click on the case, claim, or dispute, it says we do not have access. We received these on 11/17 and we still can't access them. We need to be able to access them if we are being served so that we don't miss deadlines. So Brad, I think I'll kick that one over to you. I think you and Richard are kind of researching.
Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear me?
You were on mute.
All right. Can you repeat that? I apologize. I think I'd lost connection for a second there. What did that say?
Yeah, this person is just having, their firm is experiencing an issue where they receive notice of emails that are notices of documents that are available, but when they click on it, it says that they don't have access. So wondering how they can get access to those documents.
Yeah, the big one we're seeing that we know is, so we have a couple of scenarios where people either they're not added as a party to the case. Like I said, on a lot of those legacy ones, if you refile a notice of appearance, you then would be getting access to those. The ones that we know we can't fix right now are our rehab documents coming from our VRU unit that people are getting. They start with RC, and that has to do with our internal case functionality, and that's something that we cannot solve right now. So that's why VRU is going to start mailing those documents and serving them via mail.
And if you've noticed that that's happening on other pages, please just keep us updated on that. We can certainly investigate further if necessary. Okay, so a few more questions here. On the Campus Central page, does it give instructions for how to file a medical or rehab response? When in Campus, I don't see where under submit a filing on a medical or rehab response is an option. I believe that I think we have some training out there, but we could do a really short reference video on that as well. I think we just made a minor tweak to the system that should allow those to be filed before a conference is scheduled, if I'm speaking correctly, Richard and Brad. But we can do a quick reference video for that and put that up on the training page. Absolutely.
Yeah, we can't commit to those this week. We will put out a schedule of when we can get those quick reference videos done. We are, limited on the number of people that can do them. So just with our capacity right now, we just don't have the ability to do one right now, but we will get one out as soon as possible.
All right, the next one. I have clients who do not appear in the My Claims section. How do I get those to appear? So Brad or Richard, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you would just file a notice of appearance.
Yeah. The notice of appearance will put you into it, and that's actually what gives you access to a claim. Obviously, if you file an authorization directly into a claim, and a request, to review a file, those would also give you access to the claim there. There is the page that we've discussed where if you need to get access to some of the legacy claims, you're filing an any and all document, then you would need to do the appropriate workaround that Richard is discussing. But those are how you get those things in the My Claims page. Sometimes if you are only representing like an intervener, you don't ever see anything in the My Claims because the interveners only get access to the dispute. So there's a possibility you only have access to the dispute level. So they wouldn't show up there in the My Claims thing. And another thing I think that, is very, that has come up a few times is that somebody will file a notice of, file a document in C-Track, like a claim petition or something, and you'll be doing work over there, and that doesn't mean that you automatically get access in campus. You still have to do a filing in campus to get access that way. So I think there's been a few things where people are doing things a little differently, and that's why they're not seeing it. But if you have filed a notice of appearance into campus and you're not seeing it in the My Claims list, give us an example, and we'll look to see, one, did the notice of appearance hook up to a claim that we know is in campus? Because that would be something we would look at. Or did it, in fact, create one of those claim shells so it didn't link to a claim and it's waiting to get linked?
Thanks, Brad. Another one here that people haven't been receiving notices or notices of conferences that have been scheduled. Richard, I don't know if you want to speak to that again.
Yeah, I'll just speak to that again. And the one thing I'll just say here in this setting, again, everyone, I can't express enough how much we appreciate your patience with this. We are in the process now of getting conferences scheduled. So for those folks who have submitted items or requests, med requests, rehab requests, I would just ask that you let us work through our backlog. If you want to follow up, and I'll just make sure and I'll type it in right now while I'm thinking about it. If you want to reach out to me directly and say, hey, what's the status of so-and-so? Yep, I just saw the note from Julie, ask and you shall receive. There's my email, and you can reach out to me directly. Just reach out, and if you want a status report, we'll work to give you one. But there is a backlog that we're working through, and so I would just ask for your continued patience. But we are getting those up and out, those scheduled, and I would just ask people to be on the lookout for those here in the days ahead. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Richard. So a couple more just notices or documents that haven't been able to be opened. So I know we have that documented and we kind of talked through that. Kelsey, thanks for specifying. One was an RC and the other is a DS. So those are the two that we're familiar with at this point. The next one, will there ever be an option to search my cases by name? So
Yeah, you can do by, isn't it sort by first name right now, or?
yep, you can filter by the name actually. So if you're in the My Claims queue, there is like a little funnel that it looks like. It's actually a filter button, and you can actually click that, and it'll give you options where you can filter by name or claim number, campus file number, date of injury, things like that. So you don't necessarily search by name, but you can filter by name, if that makes sense. All right. If there are very old claims on my dashboard that I haven't touched in years, can I get them out of my dashboard?
Yeah, you'll always show up as the attorney on those, and so they're inactive claims, so they're just something you were representing on. What happened is there was what we're looking into this. So in some of our practices have changed from the way the department handles files. So on some of the old stuff, the department never actually closed, quote unquote, closed the file. And so when we did the migration, it bring them all over, and it's showing up in your case. So we're looking at some ways to eliminate those, because we can't really do date certain. We can't do a lot of things that you would normally do to say something is old and closed, because we know that litigation can come up at any time on some of these cases. So, we're looking into it, and we will keep you updated with what we can do as far as getting those to not show on there and making them flip to an inactive.
All right. On the main dashboard, there are boxes for claims, upcoming events, and new documents, but nothing is showing in the upcoming events or new documents boxes. Should those boxes reflect the upcoming events and new documents?
Yeah, they should. So events should be, anything scheduled in campus should be coming up on there as your events, and then the new documents. Should if documents are being sent to that account, they should be showing there.
Richard, I think you put your email in the chat. And then I think we talked about file. If you're not seeing files where you had an NOA before campus, you can file a new NOA to access those. Is that correct, Brad and Richard?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a good question. Is the calendar working yet? Have the attorney calendar updates been addressed?
As far as I know, the attorney calendar is working. I don't have anything on my current defect board showing otherwise. Is somebody experiencing something calendar?
I don't see that there's anything specific, but yeah, if you guys are seeing issues with calendars, please let us know in the chat. Next one, what is the process for requesting the DLI file regarding an employee? I used to be able to simply fax the request to file review. So that is actually, rather than it be a request that you fax to copy file review, you actually just fill out a really quick authorization form online. So if it's the DLI file, if it's the DLI file that you're not doing a notice of appearance on, it's just one that you have authorization and you need to access for some reason. It's very simple. And I can plan to run through that on Thursday at our other answer hour if you guys would like. I don't have that quite prepped right now in my demo environment, but it's a pretty simple, just web form. You fill out a few pieces of information and then actually upload your signed authorization. That then goes to our copy file review team. They take a look at it, make sure that everything is good with your authorization, and then they'll either approve or deny it. Once they approve it, you will actually be able to see it right in campus. All right. There's a couple questions here just about service and notifications. So what I'm hearing is there's no workaround to be able to figure out what documents we were served with. I'm still confused on the service and notifications. I have the attorney and their secretary related in campus and both are service of process designees, but only the attorney is getting email notifications that a new document is available. Any insight on those, Brad or Richard?
Now we know that, and this is a new behavior that we're seeing because most people are saying they definitely are getting their service process designees getting a lot of emails and the associated reps. So one, I think we need to go check the association on those and then look to see why they're not getting service.
Yeah, agreed. I was just going to say, if anything, what we've seen and heard is that when there are multiple people who have that service of process designation, that everybody's getting stuff. So that seems to run counter to what we've seen and heard elsewhere.
All right. So if there are specific instances of that, do we just want them to email those to you, Richard, or to email them to myself?
Yeah. Just email them to Richard, and then Richard, if you could kind of track it down and get it logged, and we'll look into it for sure. Yeah, it definitely be something new that we're receiving that information.
Great. So the next question: if an intervener only served the parties with a motion to intervene but never filed it in campus, do I still need to file my objection in campus, or can I just serve the parties by mail? And if they did file a motion for intervention with campus, how do I file an objection to the motion to intervene?
Well, I know the second part of that, there's definitely a way to file that in campus. You just go into that dispute, and then it's under the filings to upload an objection to do that. So I know that's in there. The question of if they didn't send it in campus and you just send it outside of campus, I think there's probably some legal implications there, Richard. The department doesn't have a copy of that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So next question or statement was just that the calendar won't load. So Deb, I'm gonna have you send me an email of what you're seeing. I can take a look at that because I've not heard that is still an issue.
Yeah, Angie, it looks like I just scrolled down and it looks like we got quite a few people who are saying that same thing as it relates to the calendar.
We can definitely look into that. I think we hit this one earlier, but we can run through this again. If there are zeros under upcoming events and new documents, what do we need to do to fix that? Those should just be populating with events that are getting scheduled, and then documents that are new. So we are going to follow up on our end. A few other people have mentioned that they're still seeing zeros there. Some of it may be that you don't have events scheduled in campus quite yet, but the documents we'll certainly follow up on and see, because it sounds like many of you have gotten documents and still aren't seeing them there. Okay, a few more things here. So just an ask for a quick reference video to file a request to certify a dispute. This user has an incorrect title. It looks like she's showing as an other representative rather than legal assistant in the parties tab. So we'll take a look at that and see if that is a defect. Not all of the service of process designees are receiving service for our firm. So that is new. If you, Kelsey, can send me an email with that information, I'll take a look at that. Is there ever going to be a demo video on how to file certain things, such as certifying a dispute, then filing a medical request and a rehab request? It would be helpful to see exactly how to do these certain tasks. Richard, I believe that Aaron and Brian covered pretty much all of that in their training videos. Is that correct?
I'll have to go back and check, and I'm not sure if Brian is still on. If he could weigh in on that one. I think he was.
Yeah, that would have been
in
in several of our videos.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. So would it just be a matter then of maybe finding it or getting it and then just putting it somewhere maybe on that Campus Central page, or just resending out a link for folks to be able to watch it again?
And I can grab I'll grab the training page and put it in the chat. Just because that would have, I think that has a number of the videos. Let me see here. So I'll just put the general training video in here, or training link in here. And then Brian, if you're able to specify which ones, I believe it was probably the Campus 101. And then we've got a few others in there that are likely helpful.
This is Sandy. Angie, they may want to look at, there's both a slide deck and recordings for initiating disputes that Brian and Aaron went through during the training. Those should all be on our website. So that may be a good one for them to look through.
In particular, there's a recent video called Session 2, Initiating Disputes, which I think is pretty helpful and it's fairly concise.
Great, thanks Brian and Sandy. So the next one, when I file a certification for dispute, I receive an initiate dispute successfully submitted. To view my documents, click this link and I click it, yet in Campus, I click DO 0248548821, yet in Campus it is DS 0248548819, nothing matches. So that is an example that the links that start with DO are specifically documents. So if it says DO, it's just the document itself. It's going to take you right to that document viewer. If it's DS, that is the actual dispute page. Now you can find the documents on the dispute page, but those are two different types of links. One is specifically for the document and the other is specifically for the dispute. How will the workaround mentioned earlier for filing be communicated to everyone? I believe a statement on the workaround was promised during the last session. Richard or Brad, wanna take that one?
Yeah, this is Brad. I'm just assuming that it will be sent out, email, also be put on the Campus Central page that we're looking at here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a feel when she says, Jeff, filing be communicated to everyone. And Jeff, I don't know if you could be a little bit clearer when you say filing. That's where I'm stuck a little bit. Okay, I'm assuming NOA, cert request, med request. Yeah, and I'm looking at what Elle just typed in. I'm assuming NOA, cert request, med request, etc. So as I said before, the issues with cert requests and med requests was we just had to get some technology fixes squared away that will allow us to process those, and that's why I know people had asked about receiving their notices. We do have a backlog, and so we'll be working to get those, worked through, and you'll be getting that information sent out here a bit more quickly, excuse me, in the days ahead. If I read between the lines here, so the issue that we were dealing with, and I think I know what Jeff is talking about, going to assume a little bit, but the direction we were trying to provide to folks around getting access to some of their claims and being able to retrieve that information, it's rooted in us wanting to make sure that people get their notices filed. That was one of the things that we had dealt with, and we had gotten a number of calls and emails kind of offline about access. So claim access has been a big issue, and as I mentioned at the outset, it's something that we're still working through. But the agreed upon solve, at least at this juncture, is to have people file those NOAs. And that's the starting point. If there's something beyond that, then we would need to have a discussion, maybe a bit more in depth. But if I'm reading that, then that's my understanding. I believe what Jeff is referring to. Sorry, I'm reading out loud here, everyone, so I apologize. We're getting stuff to come through in real time. So I think what Jeff is referring to is everyone in our office has had several issues filing med responses, rehab responses, objection to interventions, MMI reports, etc. Yeah, actually being able to get those filed. Angie, is this something that we're familiar with? I'm not familiar with people just having issues being able to actually get stuff filed.
The issues that I'm aware of, we do have some users who have mentioned that they have trouble uploading specific document types. And I know that that's something that's taking kind of some pretty intricate work, because it's a little intermittent. I was not aware of any of the other filing types that weren't working. So that may have been logged by somebody else. Just because I don't know about it doesn't mean that it's not already there, but we can certainly take a look at that one. And Teresa, I just saw your message that you've not been able to file anything. I'll take a look at a few things on your group, and see if I can determine what the issue is there. And I think right now we're all caught up in the chat. Oh, just got one. Okay. Yeah, Tina, this is like that was exactly one of the ones that I was just talking about. Some of the documents, it's very intermittent. Like for instance, this individual in the firm hasn't been able to file a notice of MMI. And it's very intermittent to one person. Is there an alternative option for filing that information if they're unable to do so via campus, if they get that unauthorized screen? So Richard and Brad, I'll defer to you guys for that.
I mean, I'm not going to speak for Richard, but I do know that, I mean, if somebody else in your firm can do it, I would probably recommend having them do it. If it's just one particular person in the firm that's having this issue, if that's not available, I would reach out to Richard and ask him what you'd like him to do.
Okay, when we get an email from campus about a new document, everyone in our firm gets notice, even if they aren't a party to it. Wendy, can you let me know which firm you're a part of and I can take a look at that? Let's see here. So the video on running through the dispute process is an hour and a half long. So just requesting some shorter videos for more focused examples. As Brad said, we can definitely look into that. It's just something that we can't promise right at the moment, but we will work on kind of creating more of that content. All right. What do you do if DLI has a different date of injury than the employee's attorney and then the employee's attorney can't file anything because it is refusing the date of injury. What other options are there?
Yeah, you can still file. Sometimes the dispute is over date of injury, but you can still file. So that's what we have on file is our reported date of injury by the insurance carrier and the employer. You can still file, and like I said, it will create. You'll have to enter in the information and the party information. It creates that claim shell step, and then DLI will either determine whether or not it should be associated to that date of injury, or if they need to have the insurance carrier file another claim on it.
Tina, you mentioned you think it's a case specific thing, not a person specific, so that's good to know. Next question. If an attorney has access to migrated claims and disputes, but their legal staff does not, even with a linked relationship, are you saying we still need to file a notice of appearance for the legal staff to be able to access the claims and disputes that already show up for that attorney?
Yeah, that's one of the workarounds we have because what's showing up for the attorney a lot of times is the migrated data. And again, only the attorney was associated to migrated data. There was no concept of legal assistants, paralegals in the Informix world that we ever kept track of. So, I mean, this is just an option we're giving to file that because that will then set the standard for adding you to a party onto that dispute or the claim, and that will allow you to then view those claims and file into those claims.
All right, and this is more of a comment. So just a heads up about some responses. I had a problem filing a medical response, and Brian said I should call the employee's attorney and ask them to refile their medical request so I could file our response because their request wasn't showing up. Apparently, they filed it right before November 2nd, and it is not showing up.
Yeah, it's one of those. I mean, if somebody's filing, if there are documents that were filed before go live, especially on those type of things, please let us know because we're going to have our records and training group, compliance records and training, go through there and find those and get those entered into the system because we do want to make sure that campus does have those, and we'll try to locate where those are. So in that scenario, you definitely would want to contact the help desk and tell the help desk that there is a filing made before go live that is not showing in the system, and you need to have somebody locate that filing.
Thanks, Brad. Okay, next question. On the work comp campus training page, where's the video that shows how to file a medical response or rehab response? I'm just going to share my screen. Can you guys see my Chrome right now? Training page. Perfect. So I believe, Brian, chime in when I'm getting close. I think that it is this one, this 101 for law firms. And then I believe the how to initiate a dispute. Does that also go through, Brian, do you know, does that also run through the response portion?
It's likely that part does. Those do address the response portion. Also in the submit filings, or under the filings video, which we call further down session 2, that should address responses also. But really, responses is not that much different than filing an initial dispute. It's simply clicking the file a response as opposed to initiate. The same kinds of steps will be involved. The only difference, again, is that once you're in the claim, you need to go to the submit filing button and find the response drop down to select.
Oh, here's that Campus 101 video right here. And then here's the how to initiate a dispute in campus. Thanks, Brian. All right, next question. Our office has been in communication with Aaron at DLI regarding our issues filing. We've consistently gotten stuck at trying to file motions to intervene on behalf of the medical providers we represent. We are unable to look up our clients or enter them using the tax ID I know that that is something that we do have documented, that people are having issues with those tax IDs and finding interveners. So if you want, you can certainly send us some additional examples, but I believe that is something that we are already working on.
Angie, I can confirm that that's correct. And Aaron's had a couple. We have a couple other people who are dealing with those issues with medical providers. So it's a larger issue, and we do have it documented, and it is being worked on.
Great. Thank you, Richard. Okay. I've looked under initiated dispute, and a medical or rehab request is an option, but a response is not. I think Brian might be the best one to explain how that works, actually.
Sure, it used to be until very recently the situation, Angie, that you would only be able to find that response option under submit a filing after an administrative conference was scheduled. And so before it's scheduled, the option simply would not be there. But my understanding is that programming has changed very recently in campus, and now that option to submit a response should appear when you're in the dispute page, even before a conference is scheduled. And if you're still not seeing it, if you log out, log back in again, I'd say give us reach out to me directly by email. I'd be happy to talk to you.
Thanks, Brian. And I believe with that one, just the important thing to remember is you don't have to go like you're initiating a new dispute, correct? You just have to click into the dispute that you're already a party to file that response. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Angie, for that clarification.
Thank you. Under my disputes, there are 4 disputes for the same client and the same issue. Will this be corrected? So it sounds like some duplicate disputes.
If you can send those examples over to Richard, we'll look into it. Like I said, we just migrated what we had, and so that's sometimes that does happen. We also had some people that did when the filings looked like they weren't going through or were taking some time, kept refiling. So we know we had that, but we can clean those up if there's an issue with them. So we just don't want to be deleting any data that was filed for a specific purpose. And we'll go from but so just send those to Richard and we can look into them. I will say it is 11:59, and I know that this is an hour-long meeting, so we're going to cut it today. We do have another one on Thursday for answer hour, so we will have another one of these and go from there. So I appreciate everybody taking the time out and giving us feedback. We will continue to reach out to you, and obviously Richard, Brian are always available. Well, they're not always available because they're very busy, but they're always available to take feedback and to get questions. So with that, I say thank you, and I do have to drop off, so I appreciate all the hard work, and thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you, everybody. We will see some of you on Thursday.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Angie. Take care.